What's going on? I'm Tommy, and if you've been watching the channel, you know that I'm a fan of the POCKET RGB lights, but sometimes they just don't have enough power. And if you need more power than a POCKET RGB light, but the larger professional panels are a little bit out of your range, that's where the Lupo ACTIONPANEL Full Color comes into play. It is a $780 full color RGBWW light that has an optional diffuser. It is kind of in between of the pocket lights and the larger 1x1 soft panels. I've been using it in pretty much all of my videos for the past few weeks. You've seen it popping up in backgrounds and in product shots, but let me show you what I did with it last night. So if you've been watching the channel, you know that I'm a really big fan of Lupo's products. We've got the Lupo Super Panel Full Color 30 right here. We've got the Super Panel Full Color 60, and I'm using it with my ridiculous big battery from Dino Lighting on an impact rolling baby combo stand. This setup is fantastic. It rolls around the room. It is a light stand, you guys. It is not a table for everyone that's asking and worrying about stuff falling over. It's not gonna fall over. It's very heavy, it's sturdy, it's just a little bit wobbly because, again, it's a video light. It's not actually a table. All right, so let's jump right into it. There's a few reasons why I think you need to pay attention to Lupo's lights. This is the ACTIONPANEL Full Color. It comes in at $780. It's a very spotty light because it has a bunch of tiny little lenses in front of all the LED elements. So it throws the light very far away and it can get incredibly bright. I rarely find myself using it at full power, and if I do, I can put the diffuser on and light up my whole room with a color. The diffuser is a lot more interesting than I thought it was gonna be. Now it's like this translucent plastic that I've never really seen used as diffusion. It seems kind of like a packaging material, but once you put it together and put it on the light itself, the diffusion material diffuses it just enough to make the light soft so you don't have any of the weird shadows that you would get from not having it diffused, but not so much that it completely blocks all the light. And on top of that, I think it looks really cool. I've been using it as a background in a lot of my videos lately. I don't know, I just really like the way it looks. Another thing that I think is pretty interesting is usually when I'm using a soft 1x1 panel, I like to have a grid on it because I like to control the direction of my light. Otherwise it all goes out in a 180-degree beam angle. And as you can see without the grid, it also increases the intensity quite a bit. So by adding the 40-degree grid, you lose a lot of intensity, but you add directionality, which is different than the action panel because by adding the diffusion, you lose output, but you gain that extra beam angle. But then when you take the diffusion off, you go down to a 40-degree grid and you gain output. So it's opposite from the other soft panels in that regard. Learning how to use your modifiers and when to use them is important. The other really cool thing about this light is the VMount Battery option. So I've been using this light with VMount batteries for pretty much the entire time that I've used it because I just love batteries. I don't like having wires and cords strung everywhere. But you can power this one also with AC power. I'm not a big fan of the AC power is because then your mobility is restricted. It just, there's a cord dangling so you can't spin it around freely. I mean, cords just get in the way. Now I was curious if the VMount power would reduce the amount of output that it gets as opposed to using AC power. So I measured it and it does. It cuts the output by also around 30%. So if you're on VMount power with the diffusion, you'll have the least amount of output. If you're using AC power without the diffusion, you'll have the most amount of output. But for pretty much everything I've used it for, VMount power with the diffusion installed has been plenty of colorful output for all my needs. Let me give you an example. There we go. He's crazy. The other thing I really like about Lupo's lights is they all have this 3-knob interface that makes it really easy to select a color without actually looking at the panel. So I can select the hue, the intensity, or the saturation, so long as I leave it in HSI mode, and it makes it really easy to kind of pick all the colors that you want. That goes the same for this panel down here, and of course this panel over here. I've had this light for about a year, and I've had this one for a little bit less than that. And they're really durable. They're really lightweight lights, and I've had no problems with them, so I can imagine that the Action Panel Full Color is gonna be even more durable. In fact, they improved I'd say the yoke is about twice as thick as it is on the Super Panel Full Color 30, which is a light that's about twice as big as that one. I mean, they've really beefed up kind of the construction of their lights with the Action Panel. I guess it's made to travel around, because they also sell a backpack that you can carry the light around and fit a couple of VMount batteries. You can fit a couple of the action panels in there. It's a really nice backpack. The backpack is about $200. Another reason I really like Lupo's lights, particularly the action panel, is they're super lightweight. A lot of the other lights that I've worked with are all super heavy, rugged construction and everything. But Lupo went a different route with their carbon fiber reinforced plastic techno polymer build, I think is what it is. It's just, it really weighs hardly anything. And you can put like super tiny batteries on it too. Like my favorites, the ones from Bebob that are like microscopic batteries here. All right, so I haven't been using Bebob's batteries, my favorite batteries, with this light for one reason, and that is because the V-mount plate is installed facing downwards. And that means if I use this battery by this Chinese company Farseeing, it's got this always on screen that one will illuminate, but two, you can see how much power you have at a glance, even if your light is turned off. But once you turn the light on, it will then calculate how long the battery has remaining if you keep the light draining the same amount of power. So this battery works really well for the way I use this light. How long do I have until I have to charge that battery? This battery is going to last me for 21 more hours. Now I have 8.5 hours. Really, really handy batteries. I mean, yes, I like the tiny batteries, but for this use case, having an at a glance, how much power do you have thing is super useful for me. All right, so let's talk color quality. Now, this light does not have the greatest possible color quality when you're in white mode, so if you're gonna use it as a key light or you need accurate color representation, but it's still a lot higher than a lot of the lights that I've used. It's got like between 92 and 95 CRI, TLCI, all that stuff. It's still excellent, but they have better lights. I mean, this Super Panel Full Color 30 and 60, these have CRI and TLCI of like 98 plus. I mean, they're super good. The Action Panel has less great color quality, but they have other lights that have exceptional color quality. I think the strength of the Action Panel Full Color is to use it for the color producing effects. If you need a lot of color in a small package, that's where this excels. And as far as output levels are concerned, with the lux, it'll output roughly 5,000 lux at 1 meter away at full power. I'll just put the numbers up on the screen. I'm not gonna go through them. Everybody thinks they're really boring, but the people that wanna see them, they're really important to them, so here they are. Moving on. It also has some special effects available, like you saw in the intro. It does the whole disco mode, does lightning, explosions, paparazzi, television, and a few others. And they're still working on more, and the Full Color 30 and the Full Color 60, they don't have all of the special effects that the Action Panel has. They told me when I started reviewing these that they were working on firmware updates to add more special effects, but I was unsure of how to add those. They added a USB port to the Action Panel, so if there's a firmware update, you can just install it via USB. Now, one more thing I want to mention, Lupo as a company, I really like them. Something I found out that they did was they updated their Super Panel Dual Color, which is one of their larger lensed, super bright panel lights. They basically updated that light and made it like 30% brighter, which is a lot. And so for 3 months, everyone that bought one of those lights, they sent them a new version of that light, like the version 2 of the light, without telling anyone that it was updated. And then 3 months after that passed, they announced that they had updated the light. So anyone that bought one, 2 months ago when they announced it, wouldn't feel left out because they'd already had the new one. That's just the kind of company that Lupo is. They have excellent customer first kind of mentality. They're great people, and with the Action Panel Full Color, I mean, there's a light that's really slotted into an interesting place in the market that, if an indie filmmaker needs a light that has a lot of color on a budget, then this is the light that you need to get. If you want to grab one, obviously there's a link to it in the description. Don't worry about liking the video, don't worry about subscribing or whatever. Do me a favor, just drop a comment and let me know what you think about the Action Panel Full Color. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Since you made it this far, let's go ahead and design a dramatic interview. I'm going to use the action panel with the diffuser as my back, and I'm using the Aperture 120D as my key light behind a cheapo softbox. I'm also using the Super Panel Full Color 30 with a grid off to the side to kind of give me a nice little rim. And let's try some blue. We'll see how that does. I'm going to turn on my fill light, which is the Full Color 60. Keep it really low, just enough to give me a nice soft fill. And I didn't really like the blue. Let's go back to white. I like that. If you'd like me to do more tutorial style content on how to actually use these lights instead of just doing tech reviews, let me know in the comments. Appreciate it. All right, talk to you soon.